hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. Today we're going to do another quest to conceal. This is my new series where I try out concealers, apply them different ways, see what products they work best with, and do a wear test to show you how they perform on my under eyes, if they are creasing, drying, what kind of coverage they have, all that stuff. So today we are testing out the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer, and we're also going to do kind of a full face of lots of e.l.f. stuff. So don't mind the hair. It's like 500 shades of pink. I'm trying to get the purple out, so it's a little crazy messy right now, but might just end up going back to purple. So we're going to apply almost a full face of e.l.f. So if all that sounds good to you, then click the thumbs up button and let's get started. So I actually don't have any of the new e.l.f. eyeshadow palettes yet, but I received this Need It Nude eyeshadow palette for free when I placed my order with e.l.f. It's a 10-pan eyeshadow palette, and I actually have tried this and I hated the browns in this, the matte browns. They were super patchy, they did not blend together, so we're not going to use those. The shimmers in this palette are actually pretty nice, so I'm going to try something a little bit different and hope that it works out. I also have tried using the e.l.f. Concealer as an eyeshadow primer. Don't recommend it. It does like dry down, but it's almost like too dry for my eyelids anyways, that it just makes everything kind of cling in a weird way. So we are going to use the NYX HD Studio Coverage Concealer. This is in the shade CW 4.5. I also do have the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealers. First I bought this one, and because that's all that my store had and it was way too dark, so I ordered this one online, so a review on this will be coming soon. So we're just going to go ahead and prime the eyes. Now I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. Contour Palette, and I'm just going to use this ColourPop eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to dip into this lightest contour shade right here. And I'm just going to apply that to my lid. Now I'm just using this Crown eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to dip into this, like, it's a brown with a little bit of gold shimmer in it. We're just going to put this everywhere that we put the cream contour down. And I'm just going to dip into this pink shade here and kind of blend out the edges. I'm going to go in with the finger and this pink shimmer shade. This pan just fell out. And then I'm going to go in with this e.l.f. Kohl liner. It has a large liner on one side and the smudger brush. I'm going to line the outer corner and close to the lash line, and then we're going to smudge it out. And we'll go back over the shimmer. Okay, so a little something like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye. So the eye look is definitely nothing to write home about, but compared to the last eye look I tried with that palette, it's much better. Okay, so for foundation, I actually bought the e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation in the shade Vanilla, and when I put this on, it smelled like walking into the perfume section of a Herberger's or something. It was so fragranced, and my skin started kind of like burning a little bit, so I instantly just took it off, and I was like, nope, not even gonna mess with it, not gonna try it. Back in the day, I did use the e.l.f. BB cream, but I don't have that on hand. So I actually do have it on hand, but God knows how old it is, so we're not going to be using this today. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and go in with my CoverGirl Clean Matte BB Cream. I did do a review on this, so if you want to see that, I will also link that down below. And we're just going to go ahead and go over, put a sheer layer all over our entire face. Okay, we got the base down. Let's go ahead and jump into the concealer. So originally I got two of these. This is the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. I got them in the shades Light Sand and Tan Walnut. I got Tan Walnut in the hopes of using it as a contour, because online it looked like a medium neutral shade, which would be like a perfect contour for me, but it's gonna be like my summer concealer shade, so we can't use that, but I will be able to use it later. I'm gonna apply it to my face with one side. This is a very big doe foot applicator, just like the Tarte Shape Tape, and what I've noticed with these doe applicators is they put too much product on them for me. Maybe that's just because I don't like a lot of coverage, but I end up always scraping it off. So if you like a lot of full coverage, you might like that, but it's almost a little bit too much product for me. But I do like the size and how big the doe foot applicator is. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to my face on one side, and then the other side I'm gonna go in and put it on the back of my hand and apply it just with the brush that way. I'm gonna do one side at a time because I know it kind of dries down. It Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Perfection Complexion brush. I use this all the time. So as you can see, I barely used any product. This is one where if you like to do the big triangle, I would still go in pretty light-handed because it really blends out quickly. All right, now let's go ahead and set that. We're just going to use the e.l.f. HD setting powder in the shade Translucent. And I'm just using this Luxie Precision Foundation brush for that. Now for the other side, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the back of my hand and see if it makes any difference to the application. Okay, that is the concealer so far. I'd say I kind of liked the way applying it to my face first and then blending out as opposed to applying it to the back of my hand. Because on this side, since this concealer does like to dry down a little bit, I didn't feel like it was super buildable. So when I would apply a little bit there and then apply more or go back and brush it over, it kind of removes some of that coverage. We're just going to do really simple because obviously the rest of the eye look is really simple. So I'm going to go in this second to last shade. It has a tiny bit of shimmer in it. And I'm just going to lightly dust that on the bottom lash line. I'm trying to be super careful because there's a lot of fallout in this palette. Then I'm going to just go in with this little Morphe M160 angled brush. And we're going to dip into this highlight shade right here. And we're going to use this for the inner corner and for the brow bone. Alright, so this is the final look. Starting from the bottom, for my brows, I used the Ultra Precise Brow Pencil from e.l.f. I really liked this brow pencil. It has a really fine tip, just like the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, but it's cheaper. And I actually think it's a little bit easier to work with. You don't have to apply as much pressure. It's not like super waxy. I think the reason I like this one better than the NYX one is because it's a like perfect shade match for me, and in brow products that's kind of rare. So if you need a good, really affordable brow pencil, this e.l.f. one is actually really great. The e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, I have to say it's making my skin look great so far. My pores are filled, not perfectly. There's like a little spot right in here where I can still see some pores. I'm absolutely loving this. I'm sure you've seen all the reviews on it. Then we'll see how it does throughout the day right here. This is where I usually get creasing, is in my forehead, you know, squinting and doing things like that. So absolutely loving this. Cream contour palette that I used. This is like such a like oldie but goodie palette. It's very creamy, so it's very easy to use. If you want to get into cream contouring and you have not yet, I'd definitely pick this up. It's a great option. If you're kind of afraid of contouring, I would definitely pick this up. It's a super creamy, easy to work with formula that looks really good. For the blush, so far loving it. I'm loving this shade. We'll kind of see throughout the day how well it really holds up because the primer infused is supposed to help it really maintain its pigment throughout the day, because as you may know, blush tends to really fade away throughout the day. This palette here, out of 10, I would rate it maybe like a 3 or 4. The shimmers in it worked really beautifully. The highlight shade was great. That pink shade is doing really well, but the mattes in it just for me did not work. Neutral to cool tone browns get muddy really easily, and this is definitely one of them that does that. e.l.f. has a lot of other great eyeshadow palettes out there. If you need some good shimmers, maybe I'd pick this one up, but for $10, I wouldn't really recommend this one. For the highlighter, I think this is like a little hidden gem. It's super affordable. The shade is great. You can get it to be, you can build it up to make it really intense. And then this little blush topper, for not being a blush topper person, I'm loving it. This one did a beautiful job of blending my highlight into my blush and bronzer, and I was just kind of really impressed with that. So absolutely love this. Really do recommend this little guy. I've been using the bronzer palette for a long time now. I think it does great. This is kind of a contour shade, but it does have shimmer in it, so I don't know if I'd really want to contour like that with this shade. I haven't really used a lot of the shades on their own. I always just swirl them together and they end up working great. Do recommend this palette if you need a really good, glowy, buildable, but not too pigmented bronzer. For my lips, I'm using the e.l.f. Matte Lip Crayons. They're just like a little crayon, and then they have a sharpener on the other side. They're kind of matte. I'd call them more of like a satin because they do have hydrating properties to them. They have vitamins A, C, and E in there. They're very creamy, super easy to apply. I think they're a great size. They're small enough to be used as a lip liner and big enough to like easily apply all over your lips to get just like a smooth lip all together between the formula in between the ease of application. So these are great. I recommend them. I actually really want to get more shades of these because I think they'd be great just to throw in your bag and have them as like a quick touch-up, easy on the go kind of thing. So the e.l.f. HD setting powder, it has just a little sifter that you can turn, so when you're traveling you can close it. I love the packaging on these. And then it says pour powder here on this side. I love this powder for some reason. I use a lot of powders. I'm also trying the Becca one out right now because I do have a dry under eye, so the Laura Mercier doesn't really work for me. I'm also trying the Pretty Vulgar one. I feel like this is a translucent powder that doesn't take away coverage. It does dry the concealer, so it might seem like it's oxidizing a little bit, but it just sets it down beautifully and it doesn't make my under eyes super dry. So this one works great for me. I only really use it under my under eyes. I haven't really been setting the rest of my face. This powder has been working great for me. Highly do recommend it because for being a drugstore brand, it's a great affordable option. The concealers I got, my shade is actually Light Sand. I would say this could even be a little bit light for me, but once I get it powdered and everything, I think it looks great. If you're pretty light with a neutral undertone, then you might like Light Sand. If you guys want to see a video comparing it to Shape Tape, I can do that, but it's giving me almost the coverage of Shape Tape. Being a matte concealer and not super, it's not really drying out my eyes as bad as Tarte Shape Tape does. So I will zoom you guys in and kind of show you what we're working with. So here is the under eye. I have my normal kind of creasing right there from my fine lines. I think if anything, they look a little bit better than when I first, can you guys see this eyelashes coming off? That was one thing, don't let me forget to talk about the eyelashes. It kind of even looks a little bit better than when I first applied it, and I noticed throughout the day it kind of just stays the same. So this is looking absolutely great under my eye. I am shocked, but I'll come back and check in with you guys later to see how we are looking. Right now I think it's beautiful. I love how well it blended in with my BB cream. Let's see how this does later on today. Real quick, let's talk about the eyelashes. I didn't have a mascara, so I picked up the eyelashes. This is a Luxe Lash Kit Winged and Bold. They came with a little like eyelash applicator. I tried to use them. They didn't really work very well for me. This is before I heard about the recent email that e.l.f. just came out with. The CEO made sort of a statement saying that all lashes between 2014 and 2017 they were imported from their manufacturer in China to the United States, and they were unaware that the ingredients used in their eyelashes came from North Korea. Because we had sanctions on North Korea and ingredients making the eyelashes from North Korea, importing them to the United States is a sanction violation. They actually discovered this by doing their own audit on their company, and they learned this I think early 2017, and they are paying a $1 million fine on it. They brought this to our attention because they're a cruelty-free and mostly vegan brand. They wanted to do the right thing and speak up on it. So I think that's highly admirable. They had no idea, especially when it's in China, it's hard to really know where those ingredients are coming from. So I think they did the right thing by letting everybody know. After I kind of looked into it more, I did not feel uncomfortable wearing the eyelashes. They look beautiful on. I love the fluffiness to them. They're natural. They're shorter on the inside and longer on the outsides, which is great for eye looks without covering them up but having sort of that dramatic flare to them. That being said, compared to some of the other lashes that I have used, they have a thick band on them, which like especially on this inner corner here can be kind of irritating. I did trim it. Quality of the lashes, they did shed on me. The band, like when I was trying to take it off, I tried to take them off the packaging very carefully. They're kind of getting deformed and bending in weird ways, which made them kind of hard to apply. I did eventually get it down, but I don't know if I'll be able to wear them again. Quality wise, not great, but they look beautiful. Okay, that's it for everything the e.l.f. that I put on my face. So I will see you guys later and we will check in and see how this concealer is doing. So it's 6:45 right now. It's only been on about 5.5 hours. I'm not gonna last a whole lot longer. And what I can say, like looking from a distance, I love this concealer. I love the coverage of it. It's really not doing that bad for as long as I've had it on for having such a full coverage concealer. So let me zoom you guys in and we'll get a close-up look of how it's doing. Just right down here in my normal creasing areas, I wouldn't say this side, the creasing is coming down a little bit compared to where I normally crease at. This side's doing pretty good, and I think it's looking drier on this side. So this is the side I tried to go in with a brush on. Applying it to your face is the better way on this one. Since I'm not going to be wearing this very long tonight, maybe I will get up really early, and I also want to try applying it with a sponge. So tomorrow morning I will get up and apply the concealer with a sponge versus with a brush, and then we'll try that way and try to wear it longer and see how that goes. Maybe go for the whole 16 hours. So the eye looks looking pretty good. I can't believe I've had these eyelashes on that long. So yeah, that's how we're looking tonight. I'm probably gonna go wash this off in a little bit. The boys went to go get some pizza. I'm gonna eat and wash my face, and then tomorrow morning we'll come back and I will reapply this concealer and give it another go tomorrow so you can see how it works a different way. It is 7:15 now. I'm talking quiet because I feel like it's morning. I need to talk quiet. Hope you guys can hear me. So I got up early. I started this about 6:30, so it took me about 45 minutes to do everything. I was going to use a bunch of different products, but I decided to give kind of everything another test, except for brows. I used my Urban Decay Brow Blade, which I'm absolutely loving. I got the shade Neutral Nana, I think. Where does it say it? Yeah, Neutral Nana. And sometimes in certain lighting, it looks a little green. So that's the only thing I'm not sure I like about it. Maybe I need to try a different shade. So applied the primer, and then I went in with my cream contour palette again. I decided to go ahead and use this palette again, but this time, instead of using the e.l.f. concealer as my eyeshadow primer, I went in with the Angel Luscious Eyes eyeshadow primer base, and it did just seem to perform better. I think it's just the shade of one of those browns that it's not really neutral, it's more a cool tone, and it kind of blends out to a gray. All of the eyeshadows did perform a lot better. They were a lot easier to blend out. They weren't so patchy, still a little bit, but it did really improve my opinion on this palette. So the only other thing that I did differently was for my concealer. On this side I used the sponge, and I just used my Juno & Co. like microfiber sponge, and then I used my IT Cosmetics brush to blend it out on this side. Isn't it funny how I just did a video saying that you need to apply the concealer to the back of your hand and then use a brush? And in this video I'm saying that doesn't work with this concealer, so we're always learning here. So this side I used the brush, and what I've also noticed with this concealer on me is that I apply it, I blend it out, I set it right away, and it may look pretty creasy, but everything kind of warms up on my skin and does look a little bit better like the next 10 or 15 minutes after that. So it's not looking as like dry, creasy as it was earlier. It's not actually that early now, but I got up really early, so we might take a nap in this and see how it performs. So I will see you guys in a couple hours to see how our concealer is wearing. Say hi!
Hi! Hello, welcome to our channel. Today we have this crappy gun, and it's so awesome.
Okay, so I did take a nap, and I was laying on the couch on this side with like my face against the couch. I'm gonna zoom you guys in real quick. One thing I do want to tell you that I did after I stopped filming that I wanted to try is I put the Becca Hydro Set and Mist powder. This is just a little sample size. I buy sample sizes of everything because I find that I don't go through full size things very often. I put that on this side, so I'll zoom you guys in and show you kind of how it's looking. Concealer is settling into the lines between my eyebrows. This side's looking really good, this side's not. It's looking really dry and crepey. Looks like I lost some coverage right there, and I think that's from me sleeping on that side. And it's starting to come off my nose and sort of separate. I don't usually have a lot of problems with things not setting on my nose. So really quick, I just want to try, see if this does anything. It might make it worse, but I'm going to try putting some more of this Becca powder under my other eye. I'm going to try to push that into those lines there and see if we can bring some life back into it. And did I say that it's been like 4.5 hours? So I definitely don't recommend sleeping in your makeup. I'm going to add a little setting mist to that, see if I can get that to kind of melt together on my skin. So right here, actually, just from kind of letting it settle into my skin, it is looking a little better besides this spot right here, which had the concealer kind of missing. 4 hours down, 12 hours to go. I don't know if we'll make it to the full 16. We'll see what we can do. I am going to go edit and maybe go to the store later, but I will see you guys in another 4 hours. Alright, so it is 4:30. That means it's been just over 8 hours, probably like 8.5 hours from the time I got my concealer on. And this is how we are looking. Now I know with this BB cream, because I've already reviewed it, that it does kind of get a little bit oily during the day, even though it's supposed to be a matte oil controlling BB cream. Okay, so this is how we are looking close up. This side's not doing too bad. It's pretty creasy and the creases are starting to kind of drag out a little bit, but that's not bad for 8.5 hours. And this side's doing pretty good compared to how it was earlier. As you can see, it's still looking a little crepey and cakey right there, and there's more fine lines, whereas this one really hasn't changed a whole lot. So far the sponge is working better with this one, but I'd say for 8.5 hours we're not looking too bad. I mean, I would be okay with this after 8.5 hours. The areas where I place the concealer on my nose and on my forehead and my chin as well, they are starting to break up a little bit. Under my eye though is hanging on pretty well, as always, except for this spot. So I don't know if we're going to make another 8 hours, but we will see. When we get back from town, I will check in with you guys, see how we're doing. So it's now a little after 7:30, and I am not going to make it any longer. It's time to wash my face and go to bed, so I thought I'd just show you guys what we're looking like right now. I'd say this eye... Alright, so I would say that the coverage of this eye is holding up really well. You can kind of see the line right here where it's starting to fade and kind of break apart from the BB cream. The creasing, of course, isn't getting any better, but it's not looking completely awful. It just looks kind of dry, like dry and crepey, but not bad for, this is about 13 hours now. Everything's kind of worn off my nose right here. This side, same thing. We still have some of the coverage, but it's starting to kind of fade away. The heater's going to stay on, sorry. And I don't know if that's from the powder, where that line kind of stops right here. That could be from the Becca powder, because that does kind of make your concealer look a little bit more oxidized. And that could be from that, but the way that it comes up over here makes me think it is the concealer. At the 12-hour mark, it was looking pretty good for me to want to wear it again. I think it looked best between the, at the 4-hour mark, when everything kind of warmed up to my skin. And then between then and the 8-hour mark, it didn't break down too much. Now, I don't know, it could be because of the BB cream I'm wearing. That could be why it's kind of separating and it's making it look worse in my cheeks. But the blush is actually hanging in there, like it's doing really well. The primer, my pores are definitely coming through. My pores are probably looking better than it would without a primer at all. So the primer is doing really well. We have some more creasing going on here. So I do love this concealer. I love the coverage of it, especially in the 4-hour mark. I do think that the Becca powder really does help it to look more natural over the fine lines and stuff, so I liked that. I've only tried it with that and the e.l.f. HD setting powder, so maybe I'll give it another shot tomorrow. That's it for this wear test. Let me know your thoughts down below. Have you been eyeing this concealer? What do you think on how it wore? If there's any other concealers you want to see me wear, let me know. I do have a lot in my collection already. Concealer's like my one thing that I love to try. Like I said, I'm always looking for that perfect concealers. Alright, so that is it for this video and this wear test. I'm going to go wash my face. If you like these videos, if you like seeing the wear test throughout the day, let me know by giving me a thumbs up below so I know to keep doing them. If you want to see more of my Quest to Conceal journey in this series, click subscribe down below. Don't forget to hit the bell so you'll be notified. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and be the reason someone smiles today.